When Ryan's when it's time to begin, it's on the Rewind-A with John Pollock and waiting. Me 18, that makes sense that these things we see in the ring every week on TV. It's Rewind-A for Monday night, download it Tuesday morning from the Post Wrestling site. It's Rewind-A for Monday night on USA Now on the John and Wai Take the Mic.
It's John Pollock and Wai Ting for Rewind-A. A huge edition of the program from Detroit tonight. So packed, we had an underrun. They couldn't even fill. They were 10:15. They're like, we've thrown everything we have at you. That's all we've got.
Maybe they've just got a quota, and like they went extra long last week. If you remember, that was like a 2 hour 40 minute show. So
yeah,
maybe
they had to even it out.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, They owed Netflix the 15 minutes. Yeah, I would take it. It's not like there was anything on this show that I was saying, oh, I wish they had more time. I was at 9:30. I was thinking to myself, they had Dom and Joe Hendry to come and the main event. I was like, how are they going to fill another hour here? And the answer was they didn't. They somehow got 45 minutes out of those two matches.
Yeah, and like this was another one where like they didn't really announce a whole lot.
Dude. On the weekend, they promoted Seth Rollins is going to open the show and address his attack on Roman Reigns from Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And that just did not happen. Like, this feels like a very late together, thrown together show by the end. Like, all we knew this morning was LA Knight and Jacob Fatu, where Jacob Fatu had actually gone online stating, I'm not going to show up to Detroit. And that part was never acknowledged on TV today.
So weird.
It was, dude, this felt like a very disconnected show from the online promotion of this show and what they were doing. Like, this was an in-character Jacob Fatu response saying, like, I'm not showing up to Detroit. I only do what the tribal chief tells me. But none of that was mentioned on tonight's show, nor was the Rollins opening the show ever referenced. It was strange.
Friday's show was like similar in that like they had nothing announced up until like, very late in the afternoon. And I just wonder how much like Fanatics is causing any of this disruption. Like it really, I don't know, makes me wonder how much they are prioritizing Fanatics versus like all this other stuff. Their TV show.
Fanatics Fest felt like a bigger deal over the weekend than Saturday night's main event from their recaps. Yep. It was like that was the pay-per-view you missed was the Fan Fest at New York.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into Raw, but for those members of the Post Wrestling Café, we just went through all of the news on the XL edition, going through Ben Askren's performance over the weekend for Real American Freestyle, an update on the G1 after 3 nights, and also talking about NXT and AAA running WrestleMania weekend in New York next year and what that could mean with a potential involvement of AEW if they opt to run that weekend. Conor McGregor with a spiritual message for his knee. And
did he make it to church on Sunday?
Did he make it to church on Sunday? Yeah, no confirmation. I didn't see any photos of him at church.
Okay, he said he would. Right.
He said he would. I don't know if he did or not. Okay. And we go through all the talent, the WWE cuts, whose 90 days are up this week, and we do some matchmaking of where some of these names could be ending up, plus a big rundown on the life of Dwayne Ward, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 62, vaunted Toronto Blue Jays closer and winning pitcher of Game 6 of the 1993 World Series.
R.I.P.
Yes. All right, we're going to be getting into Raw tonight from Little Caesars Arena. And we had an announcement of, WrestleTix 10,972. They did do a house show here over the Christmas, the post-Christmas tour. But if we're going back to the last TV here, that was last July, almost exactly a year ago for Raw. 14,526 for that show a year ago. So Jacob Fatu and LA Knight couldn't get them over the hump to last year's number. So yes, the show did not open with Seth Rollins. Seth was he was barely woven into this show tonight. It was like, you're going to do a segment with Solo Sikoa. That would be Seth's involvement on the show tonight. They really felt like they had nothing for him after this segment got changed for him at the beginning, where if you missed Saturday night's main event, he was very much like the cowardly heel. And tonight he was right back to his old role. It was as if Saturday was this angle that they didn't want to focus too much on Rollins' attack. Like, they did show it, but he was right back to the Rollins that has been presented on Raw all these weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think that his booking very much depends on who he's opposing, and I would say this has like proven difficult for him because Roman is beloved everywhere, and Rollins, as really any babyface, you know, I think has struggled in trying to contend with that, and that was certainly they didn't even try to fight it at MSG, you know, especially knowing that he'd be paired with Jalen Brunson, of course.
So we just start cold with a match, a rarity for Raw, with Austin Theory and Braun Breaker against Javon Evans and Dragon Lee. And folks, did you catch it? Well, Michael Cole was there to remind you that Javon is debuting the new Juventus FC away jersey. Like, oh,
yeah,
awesome.
Right.
That's great.
Wondering,
yeah.
Like, why is WWE suddenly, like, what does this have to do with wrestling? What does this have to do with WWE? It's just they're just selling whatever Fanatics wants them to.
It's clearly a partnership, and I don't think this was just Javon opting to wear this.
I mean, that would make sense if like Fanatics made like a WWE something shirt, right? Some sort of like whatever, like WWE themed like football jersey. But like this is just like a soccer team's jersey,
away jersey way.
Away jersey.
Yeah.
Why?
Did you watch any of the World Cup on Sunday?
Oh, of course. A great game. Both of them. Excellent games over the weekend.
Oh, I thought you were being sarcastic at first. You did watch them.
Of course I did. Yeah. I was really into it all.
Yeah. I didn't see any
great.
of it. So.
Oh, you missed out.
I heard Spain won.
They did. Yeah. Yeah. Very thrilling.
Congratulations to Axiom and Kane.
Correct. Yeah.
Kane from Spain.
Kane from Spain. I'm sure he was glued to the screen.
So we get dives by Dragon Lee and Evans before the bell, and Lee leaps off the top and gets caught into a slam by Braun, so they take the advantage of him for a long period of time. Then Evans gets to tag. He just comes to life. He runs and first Breaker charges into the timekeepers section, and Evans then runs, does his leap into the timekeepers area, and then comes into the ring for a springboard clothesline. Logan's on the apron, allowing Maxine to grab Dragon Lee's leg, and Braun hits him with a clothesline, spears Evans, and then Theory and Braun do their finisher, which is Braun doing 98% of the work with this torpedo spear, and Austin Theory is supposed to turn and clothesline him, but it's like the guy's already down by the time his arm's getting over. Like he basically does nothing. But Braun's like, dude, I got this. Just like you don't have to.
Like what you do with a little kid, like you're pushing the cart, but like the little kid's just holding on to the handle, and you make it feel like the little kid's doing all the work. And like I did something, yay! It's kind of his role.
They win. It's a non-title match. They still won, and that was that. Is Paul Heyman's prophecy going to come true that by the end of the summer, Javon Evans is going to be a marketable attraction? And if you don't believe that, you're either looking at it from the wrong perspective or we screwed up.
Well, define marketable attraction. What does
I don't know. Those were his words.
Like you put his name on the marquee and he'll sell tickets. Is like how do you?
Is he going to be on the SummerSlam card? Okay, is he going to be among the
I will say yes.
You think he gets onto the card?
He will get one match out of the 2 nights. I like some sort of multi-man thing. I'm sure I feel like he would. Yeah.
A battle royal, I'm not going to count. Okay. If he's just in some random battle royal, that doesn't count to me.
Kickoff? Like, would you count a kickoff match like what Trick Williams had with a Laredo Kid?
They don't really do the kickoffs for these anymore, like matches. It's just going to be on ESPN. I guess that's their pseudo kickoff. Is he getting a singles match? Hell no.
It's possible.
He's not on a program at the moment. That's a bit of an issue.
Neither was Trick Williams and Laredo Kid.
Yeah, and we're still talking about that today. Laredo Kid had his shot.
Listen, like, so
I would take Javon and Laredo Kid. That would be fun.
So Javon's like not like in the position to like, you know, be IC champion or anything right now. But like in giving him these sort of appearances, I do think they are like giving him a spotlight to like gain an audience, gain momentum, gain fans, you know, and like you can't help it, like because he's just like that good anyway. But they craft moments in these matches to allow him to feel like a star, and I thought like he took full advantage of it. I really like this team of Javon Evans and Dragon Lee. I hope they really do something with them, because I think they have in them like the makings of a team similar to like a Fraxium. In fact, that match would be tremendous if they cared enough about tag team wrestling on these shows. But Javon and Dragon Lee, as far as like right now, when they're not like, they don't seem to be pushing Javon towards like the IC level championship yet, especially like because you have Gable in that position right now, like to hold him over until maybe a Rumble or WrestleMania or whenever they choose to actually execute with Javon. This tag team with Dragon Lee, I think, would be tremendous, you know? I also think, man, like, I don't know what
give us your weekly thought on Braun Breaker.
Man, like,
you're
is
very
it just
disappointed in how far.
Is it just me? Like, again, like in this match, the Braun Breaker of January 2026 would never have been taken out by Javon Evans in the barricade, doing like the run around the barricade spot, right? Which is like Braun's spot. He would have been way more protected than that. Even in this tag team, he's standing behind Austin Theory. Like, why are we doing a tag team with Austin Theory?
Did you see the Netflix interview that the Vision got later, or did you?
No,
you skip through that.
I'll
get to it later. But they literally give everyone in the Vision a chance to speak. Twice, Austin Theory gets to talk. Braun, zero. He just stands there and he doesn't get to talk.
Look at the graphic. This is Austin Theory's team right now with Braun Breaker just like, you know, there to do the finish. So I just don't know. Like it feels like, I don't know, either they've lost interest in him or like he's in trouble or something. Like it's at the point where I'm wondering like what's going on.
It kind of looks like he's got a customized Maxine title belt where it's like her head comes on the belt.
You know what? Don't give him ideas. I'm sure they would.
It's gonna be a drop for next year. They'll release the Maxine tag title belt along with Javon's Juventus home jersey. Okay.
Oh yes.
Fanatics Fest 2027. The Vision continue to attack them. So Otis and Tozawa come out and Maxine slaps Otis and Otis hits avalanches to both Braun and to Theory. And he goes to powerbomb Theory on the desk, but is stopped with Braun's running spear. Tozawa gets dropped, and again, they hit the torpedo spear with Austin Theory's eyes watching the target. And so they just laid these guys out for the second week in a row. And they're doing this match next week, although they didn't make it seem like it's a title match next week. It's just a tag match.
How would they have earned a title shot from this beatdown?
Well, I mean, by process of elimination, they have nobody to face anymore. They had a non-title win before this against Dragon Lee and Javon. They're going to have a non-title next week.
So they'll probably like lose next week, right? Like Alpha Academy will probably win.
Yeah, knowing Braun's luck, Braun's going to be the one to take the fall probably.
Could be, yeah.
There was footage of Tom Brady. Dude, I can't stand Tom Brady at all. Like from the roast to this new douchebag image that he's projecting. I don't want to see this guy in WWE. I don't want to see angles with him and Logan Paul. I don't care at all about any of this. That's my thought.
He's a name that honestly doesn't mean that much to me. Just, you know, not being much of a football fan. But I'm sure like he's one of the most famous athletes in the planet. And it seems like he wants to do more wrestling.
Great.
What's going on here? Like, is this an actual thing in motion, or is it just like speculation right now? What's going on? We have a story on the site. TMZ reported Monday that Brady is currently in talks with WWE for a collaboration of some sort. No details about what would look like, but whether it be a match or simply some involvement as part of a storyline are known at the moment. Okay, this is from
maybe
Jack
a merchandise deal. I mean, they're shooting angles with him, so it's like I'm sure they would jump at the chance to do anything with Tom Brady. This is a guy that's making like almost $40 million a year for calling games with Fox at the moment. So, I mean, it's not like he needs to do this, but if this is something he feels like doing, I guess it's sure. Why not?
Do we see a Tom Brady match in the next calendar year?
Probably.
WrestleMania, Saudi Arabia, they would have the money.
He was going to do his flag football there over in Saudi Arabia, and then they couldn't do it because of the attacks earlier this year. So, I mean, he's comfortable going to Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Judgment Day are shaking down Danhausen for money. They threaten to break his jaw if they can't get the money back. Then we had another big cast promo, and it's filled with all the negative headlines from his release. We isolate the word unreliable, and then there's shots of alcohol and the line at the end. Even if you didn't reach the top, you have no idea how far you can fall. And the August 3rd date. So looks like he's back in 2 weeks. And once again, like no hint of this, like a package deal, like Enzo is going to be accompanying him. And I've got to say, the way they're building this up as this like redemption story, I don't know if this really needs Enzo. Like that kind of slots, like Enzo is the one that will be the focus, I think, if the two of them come out together. And this feels, this is much more of like, we're really serious about getting behind this guy and like as a solo act.
Yeah, I last week's I felt was more like sort of Enzo and Cass teasing because they had so much like footage from Enzo and Cass. Like they showed Soft, they showed like, you know, like basically a lot of the successes of the group itself. This week was pretty much entirely focused just on Big Cass himself. So I certainly, you get that sense. And I mean, Enzo himself has a real redemption story. You could have told this redemption story idea with the team as a whole. But like the promos would be very different, you know, like the shtick wouldn't really be the same tone as guys trying to reclaim, you know, I don't know, like their glory.
Does he come in as Big Cass, Big Bill, or W. Morrissey?
I'm thinking Big W. Cass.
What if he announces, I'm W. Morrissey and I'm bringing back my Irish pal S. Fairley?
That's what we need more in wrestling. Yeah, just first initials.
Byron is with Raquel and Roxanne. This was one of the Netflix. There were a bunch of Netflix promos, and none of mine skipped through, so I saw them all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. So they reiterate Danhausen better bring back the money, and we learn that Raquel is going to challenge Sol Ruca next week for the IC title. Out comes Danhausen with a briefcase, theoretically full of the money, and says he doesn't want to give these human monies back to Judgment Day, but he doesn't need it either, so he offers to give it away to the fans. Judgment Day come out, and as they're about to be cursed, Liv slaps him. Joe Hendry runs down. Liv takes the briefcase, and they haul back with the briefcase as Joe Hendry has found a new friend in Danhausen, and he's
found a new life on this show. Okay, and I mean they did set this up from last week, and their justification was that what Dom or JD cost them the whatever chance at the IC gauntlet, but. Man, I thought Joe Hendry would be so forgotten on this show. Once he was done with the Logan program, there didn't really seem to be much fit or ideas for him. This is a great spot for him. Tonally, the two of these guys kind of being more like your mean wrestler variety. I think it fits in really well, and they're giving him a pretty strong start, at least in the program, by doing a concert with he and Danhausen next week.
Yeah, that's happening next week on the Intuit Dome show. But then Michael Cole says it's time to continue this epic series. It's time for the history of Roman and Seth, our documentary series, Chapter 3, The Cash In. And we show the highlights of WrestleMania 31, where Rollins runs out, and the voiceover states from Seth, I could barely feel the ground beneath me. I was floating. I wanted to hear Taz's reaction to He's not walking. He's floating. And yes, great 30 seconds. This has been the best 30-second documentary series.
I think they should consider a theatrical release for this whole thing.
Maybe this is those micro dramas that they were promoting that they've announced a deal with. These are the micro dramas.
Maybe they could submit this to the Emmy boards. They're so desperate, right? This great saga.
Yeah. Okay. The teaser is the piece. They're thinking ahead. Judgment Day are with Hendry and Danhausen and Adam Pearce. It's revealed it's fake Danhausen money. And so JD throws the bag away, and it hits an unsuspecting Obafemi in the head back behind them. And Pierce, of course, makes a match between Obafemi and JD. Oba threatens to murder this guy over what was a pretty harmless mistake. I mean, if we're talking about, like, this was right at the level of CM Punk flicking his title into the cornea of Cody Rhodes on Saturday.
Oh, this
could have been our SummerSlam main event.
Not as much as that.
Yeah.
Hey, man, this show was probably written very close in the early morning, okay? And they needed a reason for this match to happen. So,
this is the best they could come up with for Obafemi tonight. Like, they sat down, they're like, we've got a 2.5-hour show. We can't even fill it all, but we've got Obafemi here. We don't have Roman. We don't have Brock. We barely have Seth. We're going to cut his segment out. We've got Obafemi's the biggest star we've got. Give us your ideas. All right, hear me out. There's a bag. And then for the hell of it, because Pierce needs a show to fill, he makes Dominic against Joe Hendry as well for tonight.
And Dom is like complaining that no, as if like he's as scared of Joe Hendry as JD is of Obafemi. Like, where's the logic in that?
Maybe they're hoping some of Oba will rub off on Joe Hendry.
Yeah, the new Twin Towers, Obafemi and Joe Hendry.
Oba just killed JD. Hendry and Danhausen send Dominic and JD into the ring, and Femi tosses Dom out. Huge Oba chance. Does the Warrior shaking the ropes, launches him, fall from grace, and he wins in 52 seconds. Oba yells into the camera, "None of this fake money stuff. The real money is at Hell in a Cell." It's like, great way to link this to your match at SummerSlam. That was a bit of a stretch there. I think you could have torn your groin trying to pivot.
Yeah.
But hey, they got him on the show, and he killed JD. That was JD's role tonight.
Thing is like you're trying to promote a feud against a guy who's never there. His manager wasn't even here tonight. And you've already kind of exhausted the feud, with this being your third match, right? So like there's really nothing more for Femi to say. I don't want to see another promo from him talking about Brock.
But you know what I was saying after the segment? I wonder what these two guys are going to weigh at SummerSlam.
Well, of course, the eternal question. Yeah.
And they're going to get like a 5-6 day lead time on like to weigh in. I guess they're competing at heavyweight. So will they go above 265 though afterwards? Are they going to be like water loading?
I think it's going to be like a 500-pound, fight.
And it's in California. They could do a legit weigh-in California. Get Andy Foster.
Well, are both men in the drug testing pool? Or is it part-time?
We actually know Lesnar is not in the WWE drug testing pool because of his part-time status. That should have been Oba's promo tonight. Be like, you're not in the drug testing pool while I have to give blood and urine year-round.
Well, do we know if retirees have to get tested? Okay.
You're right. He's retired as well.
He doesn't have to get tested.
He should have to he should have to go back into the pool for 6 months. But I mean, Dana White gave him the allowance a decade ago, so I'm sure so will Paul Levesque.
Okay.
So that's next week, a weigh-in.
Yeah.
Who will weigh more? Byron interviews Sol Ruca. She says it will be deja vu when she faces Raquel next week. Again, this is a Netflix segment. And says Raquel will get her soul snatched again. And Wade, this is going to be your only disappointment for missing this Netflix segment.
Yeah.
In walked Lyra Valkyria to interrupt Sol Ruca. Dude, I really like this character. Like, I just got excited when she entered here. And she wasn't even used on the show. I couldn't believe it. They did this big thing with Bayley, nothing on the show. This was her involvement tonight in the Netflix international audience spot. And she mentions that is the title I created. And Sol tries to defend, and Lyra's like, "You're just perfect, aren't you?" And Sol says, "Are you okay?" And Lyra explains, and this is interesting, "I dropped the dead weight and ran Bayley out of here on Saturday, and I'm now coming back for the title I created." So... Okay. A lot of people have looked at Saturday like, was this to write her off for an injury? Is Bayley coming back? You could definitely read into that based on this promo. Like, I think they did show highlights of the attack, but like, there's really no follow up on it at all. And it was like positioning it as though like either Bayley's gone for a while or they're moving on.
She She killed her.
That's
She
going to be
absorbed
her legacy is I
stole-
killed Bailey.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess so. It kind of adds maybe some fuel to that. I mean, like maybe it's the type of thing where like we don't know if she's resigning. I don't know. Is her contract up?
I don't know. I don't know her status.
Okay. Anyway, so I mean, does this seem to spell to you the SummerSlam direction for Sol Ruka?
Well, she's facing Raquel next week. Maybe like this came out of nowhere with Lyra. I could see them wanting Sol on the show, and I guess this is as good of an opponent as anyone with Lyra.
I don't think the Lyra like performances have been like so great. On like if you're strictly grading, like was this great acting? I don't think so.
No, I'm nominating the Shield chapters along with Lyra for my Emmys this year.
But like, you don't need great acting for pro wrestling, okay?
I don't want good acting.
You need
from this.
commitment, and you need you need to grab attention. She is grabbing attention, and she is like managing to, I would say, captivate, okay? And she's managing to make us like want to talk about this. And this feud from like this sort of like deranged, lady who has forgotten how to like wash her clothes or even change her clothes, and Sol Ruka, like tall, statuesque, like California surfer, very well put together. I think has the makings of like a pretty strong story, of like, two contrasting personality types, right? But they're gonna have to push it like in a really quick amount of time. Maybe it'll just be a first chapter and they'll continue it after.
They're gonna have to forego the weigh-in.
You're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Solo Sikoa enters the ring and he notes, I'm not even supposed to be on this show.
Anybody can.
He's crossing enemy lines.
Yeah.
So he invites Seth to come out. And Seth, who's got nothing going on tonight, is like, sure, I'll come out. And he asks, are we talking or fighting? Solo says, I'm here to talk. And the crowd boos this. And then this guy just falls right into the what chance and just, again, gives them, he was Roddy Piper. He warns Rollins that it's you against all of the bloodline at SummerSlam. And I know how that game plan goes. And they're going to make sure you have no chance to beat Reigns, but I can help you and watch your back. And what does the crowd do? They boo and they start chanting OTC. Rollins says, you make some good points. I'll think about it. And Solo gets insulted. He says, I'm offering you help, and I can do for you what you did for Cody at WrestleMania 40. And Jacob Fatu storms out. He's pissed as Solo just takes off, and then Rollins super kicks Fatu, and Fatu gives him the death stare because Fatu can't do anything because he's been told by Reigns not to lay a hand on Seth Rollins. So you had no Roman on this show. You had Fatu couldn't do anything to attack Seth. You basically had nothing to do for Seth on this show. Like there was nothing for him on this other than this.
The only thing was to get talked to by Solo Sikoa about the invite to join his new stable. It's kind of it. Yeah. I mean, so again, like the heel face dynamics here, like in this program that's been building up, are really kind of tough to pin down because Roman and to my sense, Jacob are still baby faces, or at least like the crowd is still responding to them like they're fan favorites. Within the Usos, Jake adds like a really like fan friendly entrance, but like once he's actually in the ring, once he's doing stuff in the ring, plays more of the role of the heel. Jimmy is really the only pure heel in all of this. Rollins was a total heel on Saturday, and the others all seem to be baby faces right now. But like it to me, it's just like it is tough to like for guys like I would say anybody to compete with Roman Reigns, who is I think the biggest babyface of all of them. Certainly the biggest star. So I think like all of that is a bit challenging to figure out, but they are crafting something that feels like a bit of a faction war. Whether or not Rollins actually joins Solo, I guess remains to be seen. Are you of the belief that like Solo could still turn on these guys? And that this is just all set up, like all of
I don't know if they do it at SummerSlam. It would make sense to do this at SummerSlam, but yeah, it's like the closing shot. It's like it's the big reunion of the bloodline that's got Jacob and Solo as part of the family.
And now with like not just Knight and Keys as victims, but Rollins being roped into it and tricked as well.
And that might be your war games. That's where they go from there. That's what I'm thinking. This Solo, it ultimately is. Yeah, he ends up.
I wonder if that would disappoint people, because I think like people are actually enjoying the Solo Sikoa right now. Like this.
I think this is a breath of fresh air for Solo, who really faded over this last year. It is a risk of him becoming a background player again when he's at least it feels like a different presentation of him this last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's working, I think.
Penta and Chad Gable against Rusev and Ethan Page. Page cut a promo comparing Chad Gable to Sami Zayn going to his hometown, and he's going to lose. He asked Rusev, "What do you think of Gable?" And he yelled, "Bunga Runga." And then they called Gable a con man.
Is that getting over at like even the one person?
He did it 1 week, and that was a month ago, and then he just brought it back here. I have not seen all Netflix segments, so he could have been continuing this all this time. But no, to answer your question, I do not think it is getting over. I don't think Rusev is over at the moment.
Yeah, it's I guess it's the type of reference. Like, how popular is this Bunga Runga song even?
We're the wrong people to talk. We are as far removed from pop culture as imaginable. So
he's trying to turn this into like his yeet.
Well, as soon as his music hits and I hear 10,000 people, Bunga Runga.
Yeah.
Maybe then he will get a Juventus away jersey.
Oh, I don't think so.
Rusev goes after Penta's mask, but is unsuccessful. And they just worked on Penta forever. Then Gable gets the hot tag. Germans, belly to bellies, hits an angle slam to Page. Rusev saves Page from a chaos theory, and they double team him. All four men end up in. Penta hits a dive onto Page on the floor, leaving Rusev and Gable to get into a striking contest. The accolade is applied, but Gable fights his way out. And as Rusev goes for the accolade again, he's caught in the ankle lock. Ethan goes for the save, but is met with a Mexican destroyer as Page gets stopped, and then Rusev taps out in 8 minutes, 36 seconds. Gable hands the belt to Penta, and they shake hands.
Yeah.
How honorable.
Of course. They're both baby faces. I thought the finish here with the ankle lock, of course, and then Gable's, and then Penta stepping over Rusev to deliver the Mexican destroyer. I thought that was awesome. The match in totality, I thought was very fast paced, and man, the addition of Gable into this sort of like IC title scene, along with like really sort of like, putting Page and Rusev as like your heel act, as this almost the centerpiece of it all. I think it's worked out really well. And it's added a lot of life to this mid card. Certainly in ring, these matches have been very strong over the past couple of weeks. You throw in Javon in there, of course, as well. Yeah.
It's now time to continue our epic look with Chapter 4, the first encounter at Money in the Bank 2016. This was my favorite one so far. As we go back to the summer of 2016, and Seth reflects on taking the title back, even if only for a moment, because they were able to edit this entire thing and Seth holding up the belt and managed to avoid mentioning that Jon Moxley cashed in on him moments after this win. But to their credit, Seth doesn't avoid the outcome that this did have.
You know what? They've had to be very creative. Although they did show Moxley.
They haven't avoided showing Ambrose. Like, you kind of have to. Rollins finds Jacob backstage and dares him to hit him, but reminds him he's under strict orders by Roman, and asks, when I win the title back from Roman, do I get the title and his bag, boy? And Jacob then threatens to beat Rollins' ass after SummerSlam when he's allowed by Daddy.
Seems to set up a program for the two of them after SummerSlam.
I guess so. Can look forward to this. Maybe at Worlds Collide, maybe at another head-to-head contest of some sort. It'll come. We got the Advocate video with Paul Heyman calling Lesnar. Okay, let's count the trademark violations here. He is the king of the cage, the ultimate fighter in WWE, and the beast of the Broctagon. Yes, I guess they have a relationship with one. They do not own King of the Cage, okay? No. I don't know. Maybe Terry Treblecock was going to walk in here and cease and desist this guy. He was asked not to use the word violence while hyping Hell in a Cell, but just broke that rule on this tape promo. He says, "How do I do that? It's unforgiving, and the violence is extreme." Mr. Femi, he is overrated.
You think he's got a notebook of just all this?
Oh man, this one would have been I would have preferred this one to be
Broctagon,
tried out in front of a live crowd. I would have enjoyed those. I love a good pun.
Yeah.
This one was I don't know if I would have gone for this one. Oba rated. He said Oba has had the best rookie year in WWE since Lesnar, but he can't beat Brock inside Hell in a Cell. The rookie year comes to a violent ending in Minneapolis. So, in some ways, this might have been the strongest thing to push any of the stuff for SummerSlam on tonight's show, because there was very little in terms of your big programs.
Sure. It's a Paul Heyman promo, so of course it's good. But man, am I like kind of done with the talking at this point? Like they're not really
Get me to the scales. I need to know the weights.
They're really
in
like
pounds and kilos.
So like this is a feud that's been going on, since WrestleMania, before WrestleMania, right? So I think they are having trouble adding another layer to it. Like at this point, I think we can confirm this is not a retirement stipulation, And if he actually intends on retiring afterwards, I don't know why you wouldn't make it a selling point. So they don't have that to rely on. And what do you really have at this point? Like, what finality are you really promising with this match?
I mean, I don't know what this guy is thinking, but like, why would you retire? Like, he could just say, like, I want to do like 2 matches a year, and they're going to be big shows, and he's going to get paid plenty to do them. Like,
yeah, why would you?
Like, why would you retire? Like,
yeah,
why even bother? Like,
yeah, I guess at some point maybe somebody might decide they have enough money.
He hasn't yet.
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know. Yeah, it's not like he has to be away that long. I mean, I'm sure there's like a great deal of like preparation maybe for him at his age to do this, but I don't know. Maybe that's why he's not retiring. He's like, yeah, like why wouldn't I want to collect these paychecks?
Maybe he just lets his body go, and then we get that version of Lesnar.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Chapter 5. We're getting the third one of these tonight. The reunion. The reunion. It's just them like fisting in the ring.
I don't recall much of this. Like, I think you can look back at this period with like Ambrose probably knowing that he was going to be leaving already.
I remember Ambrose talking about they did a network special of the Shield's reunion. I remember in his book he talked about how bad his payoff was for that show.
Okay.
They didn't mention that here. They didn't have enough time. Dom and Joe Hendry. Liv Morgan's in the corner, and Hendry ends up going to the floor, and it's Liv that sends Hendry into the post. So this prompts Danhausen to come, and Liv goes and attacks Danhausen to stop the curse. And Danhausen heads to the back. Dom controls with the 3 amigos, is hit with a fallaway slam, and then he hits a discus clothesline. And Michael Cole, like we're morons. Oh, that's the hit single. The hit single.
It's the name of his move.
Has he used this before? Has this name been uttered before? This is the first time I had heard it.
I think so.
Well, it got a 2 count. And then Danhausen returns with IYO in the truck. And she attacks Liv and just points at her. She really overdoes this pointing thing. It seems to be like just the default setting on IYO.
I think it's what
it's like fans cheer. That's her signal.
Yeah, it's just her thing, I guess. Yeah.
So she takes out Liv, attacks her. Danhausen, behind the ref's back, hits the triple D on Dom, and Hendry pins him in 9 minutes and 21 seconds without a follow-up hit single. And that will lead to our concert next week involving Danhausen and Joe Hendry, and the addition of Danhausen and Dirty Dom to SummerSlam.
Yes, that's right. I actually think this was my favorite thing on the show. Like, to me, like they are now like putting all the what you might consider fun acts, at least on Raw, all in the same program, and that would be, Danhausen, Joe Hendry, and Dom. who I think are some of your like biggest sort of like attention grabbers. The crowd was fantastic for certainly this segment, but I thought they were actually pretty strong all show. And I think like having Io and Liv put into this program as well, I think helps like benefit Io by giving her some presence, because I still think she struggles to like maybe get airtime without like, having like, more proficient, English speaking abilities. So having her come out here with Danhausen for like this big sort of surprise, I thought worked really well for her. So man, after this weekend, like Danhausen, I think feels that much bigger as an act, within this company.
Non-title at SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah, right.
Maybe he could headline Triple Mania. He should insist on a title match.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd want that.
So next week, which is a big show, it's at the Intuit Dome. Go home Raw before SummerSlam. We have a face-to-face between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. I really hope they have some new material beyond, I don't know, bringing up like their Observer Award placings and what that means. And Otis and Tozawa will face Theory and Braun. IC title match with Raquel challenging Sol Ruca. The concert with Danhausen and Joe Hendry. And the main event, the weigh-in.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they're certainly peaking for that show and not this one.
No, you don't think...
Apologies to Detroit. This was a bit of an off week for you.
Yeah, well, the 11,000 people here got LA Knight and Jacob Fatu for the main event. Knight comes out, cuts a promo before saying it was hard to trust Solo, and now Solo's trying to help Rollins. He said that Rollins versus Reigns at SummerSlam makes him sick. And how did this crowd respond? They all start chanting OTC. And LA Knight, who is just like...
all these guys are going to struggle.
This is his what chant that he's got to deal with. He says, I can't blame you. He conned you after coming out and begging you for years to like him, unlike me, who you saw it from day one. And he said that it's a bridge too far for Solo to help Seth, and says, we're going to destroy the bloodline first so that they can't be a factor at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like the energy is really great. His delivery is incredible. I think there are a few that can like talk like him, but I don't know if he like stuck the landing on this one. Like, he hates Rollins and
he hates Reigns.
He hates
and the
Reigns.
bloodline.
So he's suspicious of Solo, and just says we're going to beat the bloodline, and that's it. Like, meaning what?
Maybe he doesn't want to see Solo help Seth, but it's not even going to be a factor because we're going to kill the bloodline. So Solo isn't even going to have to help Seth.
I see. Okay.
So he better be hoping that Seth and Roman is on night 2.
So I just like I'm also still awaiting exactly how LA Knight winning this trios match on the undercard of SummerSlam will be ending the bloodline.
Death.
Like, they need to raise the stakes, or at least like spell out the stakes a little bit more, right? Like a random trios.
Dude, this
match.
guy has been going in this bloodline Groundhog Day for. They brought it up. It's like he lost the U.S. title to Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania a few years ago. It's like this guy has just been doing terrible in this feud. It's just never ended, and he's no further ahead. They're growing. There's more of them.
Right. Yeah. So okay. So where do we get the Solo turn? Do we get it in this trios match or with?
I think it's going to be in the main event. I think he's going to help Roman. That's my thought.
So what is Solo's sort of action in this match? How is he going to play this match out? How will he wrestle? Will he actually attack the people that he might actually be working with?
Maybe they won't trust him. They won't tag him in.
Okay.
I'm at the edge of my seat, if you can't tell. So Knight and Fatu, lengthy main event to close the show. Knight wraps the leg around the post, and Fatu is sent knee first into the steps, starts ramming Fatu's head into the steps, and then Fatu pulls out a table. It's cheered, so he puts it back underneath. Easiest spot in wrestling, to use the table and then take it away from people. Knight then leaps to the top, almost lost his footing, but completed the superplex when Jimmy Uso appears. And Solo shows up in the timekeeper's area, attacking Jimmy, and then Fatu lays out Solo with a dive There's a pop-up Samoan that gets stopped, and Knight hits the BFT, but then Jimmy distracts the referee, and we get Royce Keys showing up, also not on this show, and attacks Jimmy. Then Jey Uso returns, and we get a super kick to Keys. Knight then takes out Jay, but gets struck, turning into the pop-up Samoan and mighty moonsault as Jacob Fatu pins LA Knight. And then it was a systematic beatdown of the babyfaces with everybody destroying them, including a 1D that Cole screamed 3D at the top of his lungs and then got immediately fact-checked by Corey. Tongan death grip to LA Knight, and then hip attacks to all three men and an Uso splash as Jimmy, Jay, and Jacob Fatu pointed the ones in the air, which was our call to call it a night at 10:15 p.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so Solo got beat up here. So, like, I mean, he can't be working with them now.
Mind games.
Okay.
Psychological warfare.
All right. I thought the match itself was pretty dull, as I kind of find most LA Knight matches. Like, again, his promos are really strong, his connection is really strong, but I just think his matches are just like so average. But you can get away with like average, you know, if you are a strong promo on the show. The finish I found really hot with all of the run-ins. I think everything very well orchestrated. Again, this was, I thought, a pretty strong crowd, you know, all show, and they reacted really strongly to all of this, despite the lack of Roman Reigns and, you know, at this point, like CM Punk, also not on this brand as well.
No, yeah, none of the big stars were on this show. Yeah, I agree with you. I thought the Detroit crowd was certainly not a factor in this. I just found this to be, I think it just compounded for me that I had a hard time getting into anything late because I just found so much of the show to be of such little consequence. It felt disorganized. It didn't feel like they had any, like, of your big stars on this show, really it was down to like Seth and Obafemi, and I didn't think they had anything of substance for them. But
Danhausen feels like
he kind of came off bigger than almost anyone on this show.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he's on SummerSlam, but it's like, here we're talking about like Danhausen as like the key to this show. Yeah, this just felt like they've got their big go-home show next week, and this was the show where we don't have Roman and Brock, and this sort of just felt like a Band-Aids, like a bridge from one week to the next. I didn't find this to be all that effective of a show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of the activity like over the weekend affected this and SmackDown, but both of these shows felt really like skippable. I would certainly say. So we'll see if they do better. Well, starting this Friday.
Don't make the mistake of watching WWE programming over Fanatics Fest. Get your tickets now.
Yeah.
That's their warning, okay? Get your tickets or else you're going to have to sit through our shows.
Did you see John Cena do Roman Reigns' entrance at Fanatics?
No, I didn't. I heard he did it. Was it good?
He did it, and he essentially spent 5 minutes slow walking down their little ramp.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Pretty funny, yeah.
Was there anything of note at Fanatics Fest that you saw?
Anything else.
Yeah,
No.
I didn't see much, but we're going to sign off on the YouTube channel, but we will just tee up the NXT and Dynamite lineup. So Tuesday, it's a pretty full show of NXT. We have, folks, get ready for it. It's time for the street fight, and it is going to be Tony D'Angelo defending the championship against what's the percentage chance of a title change, Way?
I think very strong.
So?
I think incredibly strong considering it's the second time he's challenging for it. I think it would really like be bad for Evil if he lost again this time. I don't know. Like, to me, I just feel like diapers like need changing, and like this man just became a new father, and you know it's a really tough job. So he might have to drop his NXT title responsibilities to take that on.
Natty and Jada Parker, they will have a rematch. Saquon Sugars, Noam Dar, and Romeo Moreno against the members of Dark State. Reina Volcan against Skylar Ray. Sean Spears taking on Nico Vance. And Keanu Carver versus Hank Walker. That's the lineup for Tuesday that the Poison Rana crew will have you covered with. And then Dynamite is Wednesday in Nashville, featuring Kevin Knight and Darby Allin for the TNT title. Did you see that the police got called when he used he torched his car for the promo on Collision on Saturday, and he showed the police report that he had to explain he was doing this for a TV shoot for AEW.
I'm sure the police know this person.
I would not think that they have to GPS the address of where.
No,
he's
that kid. Okay, yeah, we get it.
Divine Dominion defend the tag titles against the Sisters of Sin. It's Jay White against Clark Connors. A face-to-face involving Tekla and Willow Nightingale, and the team of Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, and Will Ospreay against Brian Cage, Hechicero, and Jake Doyle for Nashville.
Cool.
Yes. Maybe Dixie Carter will be in attendance in Nashville.
I don't know.
No?
Not sure.
Let's see Double J and
Maybe
Dixie.
that's where she'll give her big response to the Dark Side of the Ring series.
I could only imagine how great that would be if Dixie's in the ring and then all of a
I
sudden.
think she thought, oh, I'm going to bring Hulk Hogan in here and everybody's going to love me. Oh, look what Dixie did. Look what the fuck Dixie did.
She is the star of those 3 episodes.
Maybe
so
Karen's
far.
going to get
Yeah,
booked out of all of this.
She could.
Maybe she'll finish Jeff Jarrett's retirement storyline that got dropped.
Maybe. Speaking of which, Dark Side of the Ring, we'll be covering the latest episode Wednesday
Yes.
on the Double Shot.
Necro Butcher against Samoa Joe. That is up this week. So
And
you can look.
we will try to make time for Unreal, maybe not.
Maybe next week on Unreal.
Okay,
we
maybe
will
next
see. We have to discuss. Okay. We have some. We've got a bit of a jigsaw to put together over the next week. But yes, all of that will be coming up. The Double Shot book club this week, as we're going to be talking about Regime Change by Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, and all the regular shows as well. G1 Climax shows coming your way on Wednesday and Sunday this week as well, if you are following along with all of our G1 Climax coverage. All of that can be found postwrestlingcafe.com, and do give a listen to the NWA podcast, going 6 hours and 47 minutes, an easy morning jog to get you through the NWA podcast.
So just maybe a behind the scenes note. So like, I'm usually the one who uploads like the MP3 versions of these, and I just can't do that anymore because like they don't end till like 2-3 a.m. I had to wake up at like 7. So I've tasked Ray to do it.
Oh wow.
He did it last night. He didn't finish until like 4-5 a.m. Okay, so applause to Ray Williams spending as much time as he does. Thank you, Ray, for uploading that, so all of you guys get to enjoy that in the morning. Yeah, spend your time, work your way through it.
All right, and we will have coverage this weekend. We'll be live right after Redemption, which hopefully is a little earlier because we do have the hour earlier start time for the Montreal show. So,
okay.
Look out for all of that this weekend, postwrestling.com and postwrestlingcafe.com, but we're going to continue over at forum.postwrestling.com.